everybody, it's Caleb, back again with more Bad Fanfiction Theater, and we have a guest.
Hi, I'm Hawkeye.
And since Sailor Moon Crystal is coming out next month, I thought we should read some really bad Sailor Moon fanfiction.
It's kind of difficult to find any other kind of Sailor Moon fanfiction.
Aww.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Well, I guess in that case I'm the only Sailor Moon fan here. I mean, I don't know how much of the show you've ever actually watched.
Actually, when I was younger, Sailor Moon was what got me into anime.
Ah, okay.
I of course saw the American dub because that was the only thing that was available to me. But even so, I found it to be a really fun show. I don't really know what I saw up to. The last thing I remember in the series was right before, or right when, rather, Chibiusa came onto the show.
Oh, okay. So that was, what was that story arc called? I can't remember. But anyway.
But it was when Darien started being a jerk due to time travel shenanigans.
I think I've seen all the episodes, but that's not really gonna matter once we get into this. But we both should know relatively how the characters should act. And the basic story of everything going on. So, we are reading on some archive called TuxedoJack.com. Black Day by Oscar Artemis's Lover.
Man.
Yeah.
Just, you know this is gonna be good.
Define your definition of good.
Very, very low standards.
Author's note. Well, the story has more action than sex, so don't expect a lot from this one, okay? Also, reading my first H fanfic, Artemis's Lover is space, and then paragraph break, followed by tab a couple of times. Preferred some plot twists carry on into this story. What? Is that supposed to be like a separate Artemis's Lover is supposed to be a separate story that you read before this?
I guess. I don't really think it'll make that much difference.
Probably not. Should I just keep going until we
Yeah,
get...
just go through the intro.
Intro. As a dark star reaches Earth, Luna and Artemis grow concerned. They sense a great evil approximating, and it will take everything from the scouts to destroy it. Approximating.
Yes. Approximating. Not approaching. But it's approximately a great evil.
Yes.
A black day. It was 9:12 a.m. and Oscar woke up, stretching up and trying to open his eyes. Another day, another life, Oscar. Wait, another life?
Well, it's not my inner life, so I'm okay with this.
God for that. But I guess it's like maybe he's a video game character and he died once, but now he's respawned.
Possible.
Oscar said, "Don't you think Artemis?"
He asked Artemis, but he wasn't around. Damn, I hate when he does that.
He said, "Froggening." And going into the shower. Meanwhile, Artemis was outside with Luna. "Artemis, you felt it too, didn't you?" Luna asked Artemis. "Yes."
It's a great amount of evil coming towards Earth, Artemis said as he shivered. We have to tell the others, Luna said as she turned back and...
left. Oh, this is really how this is spaced, guys.
Yeah, so we don't really know when to start or stop, so we're just guessing.
This is where the paragraph breaks are, don't blame us.
It might be because this is formatted into a text document, where, you know how, like, if you take something long and then you put it in a text document, it makes all kinds of weird spaces and stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Even so, it's usually not this bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Artemis replied as he went home. Oscar came out of the bathroom still wet from the shower, so he didn't bother to put a towel on or
Wait,
anything.
hold on. I'm still stuck on the last thing we read. It's a great amount of evil coming towards Earth. Oh, okay. Then we have to tell the okay. I was confused because I'm like, did they just state that and then Artemis decided to go home?
Just like the cats are like, forget this noise.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see. Oscar came out of the bathroom still wet from the shower. Artemis showed up. Just out of nowhere. Artemis, where have
you been? Artemis still looked scared. Artemis, is everything alright?
Oscar asked, concerned. In fact, no. Something evil is coming towards Earth.
And I don't know if we can stop it. Oscar got scared. Shit, guess I'll
have to use my fighting abilities again, Artemis smiled at him. Right. Meanwhile, Usagi was still asleep, dreaming with Mamoru. Yes, Mamo-chan. She moaned softly.
Momo-chan, it's so
big. She was now getting wet, and Luna was asleep over her crotch.
What?
Wow.
Why would Luna be there over her crotch? And when did Luna get home? Was Luna dreaming this entire conversation with Artemis?
You know what? It makes about as much sense as anything. She felt her juices flowing down her legs, soaking her panties, her covers, and finally Luna's like, wow!
Yeah, I was gonna say... and if she's asleep, how could she feel that?
And it's just like...
I mean, did she just piss herself?
Yeah, there must be a faucet down there, or something. Luna felt something warm below her. She opened her eyes just to see Usagi moaning. Luna smiled. She must
be having a really good dream, she said, as she went inside the bed covers.
Pulled Usagi's panty. What?
Wow. Okay, so, yeah, this is a thing.
And started looking at her juices. All right.
I'm confused. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead. I can't really tell either.
Okay. Mamo-chan, yes, lick me, she said as she felt tickling warm tongue.
Tease and flick her clit. When Luna heard Usagi, she giggled and taught. Per Usagi, she's so innocent. Wait, apparently not! Where are you even getting this? I mean, seriously, how dense are you? And continued licking her. She then went
inside Usagi's negligee. What?
It's supposed to be negligee, but
negligee, and started licking and playing with her breasts. Wait, so she just okay. And nipples. Usagi moaned softly, but her breath came into short gasps. I love you, Mamo-chan, Luna giggled again. Usagi, I'll show you that I'm
better than Mamoru, she said as she licked her tits in circles until it touched the nipples, teasing them furiously.
Since when did Luna have a thing for Usagi?
Oh, man.
I mean, it's not like Luna and Serena having lesbian fun times is new to me, but some establishing would be good.
Yeah. Licked her tits in circles, okay, until it touched the nipples, which, by the way, with a cat's raspy tongue, that would be really uncomfortable. I'm just that.
Maybe like a little bit of sandpaper going over there.
Yeah, exactly. That's just that's making me uncomfortable just to think about. Teasing them furiously. Usagi moaned louder. Ah, Mamo-chan, come inside me, please. Luna gasped as she heard.
Usagi and thought, well, I knew I would have to use it someday, she licked. Use what? Do you secretly have a penis? Are you Futa?
Yeah, well, with all the moon magic she's got at her disposal, she can come up with something, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, what else does Serena use the moon wand for?
Her way down to Usagi's crotch and licked her outer cunt lips. While Usagi's cunt released her fluids, Luna went down Usagi's bed and picked up her item. I hope Usagi never sees this. Luna returned to Usagi's crotch.
Before she felt her assonance, Usagi felt something sharp, pointing down, going up and down her outer cunt lip. Something sharp? That's not pleasing, my friends.
No. Yeah.
Maybe it's Luna's man carrot. She borrowed it from Edward in Forbidden Fruit.
Oh dear.
Sharp point down, going up and down her outer cunt lips. She said, Mamo-chan, please. Luna smiled.
Oh, as she plunged her item deep inside Usagi's tight pussy. She moaned.
As she grabbed the bed desperately and began crying, while Luna darted her item in and out of Usagi's love hole. Love hole? Her body spasming and convulsing from the motion of Luna's item. What exactly is Luna's item? You should say. Is it a dildo? Is it another magic wand that makes you orgasm? What is it? Luna saw Usagi's face and noticed her tears. Usagi, I do believe you're enjoying this. 'Cause she's crying?
Yeah, apparently.
Usagi felt that.
Sorry. Something began vibrating inside her. Luna had turned her item on. It was a dildo!
You finally say this now? It's not really, all that surprising, dude.
Yeah. Usagi yelled as she reached her orgasm and cum spurted
out of Usagi's love hole. Some of the cum sprayed Luna's face, and Luna smiled. Oh, Usagi, see, I'm better than Mamoru. And she then pushed the dildo all
inside Usagi. Usagi again spurted out cum from her cunt. Luna kept darting the dildo in and out, making Usagi's body to spasm even more. Luna then turned off the dildo and pulled it slowly out from Usagi's cunt. She should have enjoyed her pleasure ride, Luna said as she licked the cum out
from the dildo. Okay, so how is Luna doing this? Is she still in cat form or is she in human form?
I don't know.
Good answer. Usagi's breath slowed down as her pleasure went off. What? You mean she came down from her pleasure? Her orgasm?
I have no idea from the way this is written.
Luna said, I'd better hide this thing in another place, as she hid it under
Usagi's mattresses. Yeah, 'cause she'd never feel it there.
Also, you said you just got it from, the end of her bed. What was wrong with putting it there? It's not like she saw where you got it from. She's supposed to be asleep.
Yeah. And Luna curled up over Usagi's crotch again and sat there until Usagi woke up. I would think that would honestly be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't think I would like to lay in a wet spot either.
When she woke up, she saw her bed all wet and gasped, "Oh my, I hope that Luna didn't notice this."
How could she It's a dumb story.
Yes. yes, it is. Luna heard her and said silently, "Oh, Usagi, I didn't, he. So she said it silently, so... Okay,
Wait.
never mind.
Oh. Okay.
Later that day, everyone, even...
Oscar were at Ray's temple trying to make some sort of an attack plan, because if this was seriously that important, why did this have to wait till the next day after Luna fucked Usagi with a dildo?
Because there had to be a sex scene, obviously. They had to shoehorn one in there somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose. Attack plan? Ray nodded. Well, I really can't see what or who is on that star. Everyone
Was thinking, even Usagi. Well, there's a first time for everything.
Yes.
Suddenly, Artemis said, "Everyone duck!" Oscar
grabbed Artemis and protected him with his body as a loud boom came from outside. Everyone was scared and went out just to see the city in ruins. Everybody was scared, so instead of pissing themselves, thank God, they ran outside to see what happened.
Yes.
The streets cracked, buildings destroyed, many people didn't survive. How do you know this? Have you took account of who is alive and who is not? But Ray bore furious as she saw her grandfather and Chad crushed by a pillar! 3 exclamation point. She yelled, "Now it's personal!" because it wasn't before. All the other times you fought shit in the show.
Right.
And then everyone transformed.
Oh God. Venus star power, Mars star power, Mercury star power, Jupiter star power, Moon crystal power, in parentheses, all makeup.
It looks better in the show.
Yeah.
Just saying they transformed. If you're not going to describe what the transformations look like, there's really no point in saying anything more than they transformed.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oscar yelled as he concentrated all of his power. Kia! Saiya-jin power? What?
Wait, Saiyan power? Really?
Yeah. Apparently we're mixing Dragon Ball Z in here now. Oscar's hair turned gold and up. It just turned up. So he didn't have hair to start with, but it had to go dye itself and then show up just now.
I hate it when my hair turns up unexpectedly.
I know, right? It's so annoying. And then you have to brush the stupid thing and then wash it because somehow it got all dirty. Yeah. It's got leaves and crap in it. Artemis gasped as he saw Oscar.
Transformate. Oh, Oscar, you. Oscar looked Artemis with a smile. Yes.
Artemis, I am Saiya-jin. Artemis smiled proudly. Wow, not only is he an
hermaphrodite, but a Saiyan as well. Oh.
Wow. When did we establish he's a hermaphrodite?
Probably in the other story he told us to read that we're not going to bother with.
Maybe. I'm so confused.
But it's just like, it's like, so he's just randomly a hermaphrodite Saiyan from Earth, I guess.
Yeah, we don't really know.
The Sailor Scouts and Oscar held hands and yelled, "Sailor teleport." The ground shaked and they disappear.
Artemis said, "Good luck, my love." Who is his love? I'm assuming Oscar.
Yeah.
But we didn't really establish this.
Yeah, the story doesn't establish it, but considering that the author calls himself Artemis's lover, we can probably assume that. Yes. It was a rough fight up there, and Oscar came back dead! Yes! Artemis cried for him, but Usagi took her silver crystal and gave him the enough energy to live. No!
That's not how it works! The whole reason that Serena's mother, Queen Serenity, died is because she forced everybody's souls to the earth so that they would be reincarnated. When you do something like revive somebody or save them to be reincarnated, the crystal kills you. it's sort of like a give and take.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen that part in this show, but I've seen something similar in other
It's
anime, so...
well, I'm not sure about the Japanese version, but the American version, I don't think ever really stated what happened to Princess Serenity's mother. It's just like, okay, a war happened and she saved everybody somehow, and then that was about it.
Yeah. But, like I said, the dub
Yeah.
that I saw only went so far.
Mhm.
Let's see. Artemis couldn't believe his eyes, and neither can I for that matter. He saw Oscar alive, and again he cried, but this time it was for joy.
Author's last note. This story was in the first place very long, but when I tried to save it, it said insufficient memory left in your page, or something like that. So when you email me, consider this okay, especially you, Artemis and Luna. The end for now.
So, what he's trying to say is, I guess, he had a longer story written, but his computer ran out of memory.
Yeah, which might be fortunate for us.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I
So,
mean, this thing is only like 2-3 pages long, really.
yeah. Maybe
So,
more like a page and then maybe a little bit onto a second page and that's about it. Well, no, well, once you actually format it properly, it'd probably just be a page.
I'm just wondering, what kind of computer was this written on that more than 3 pages caused it to fail?
Well, he could have had a whole bunch of Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z stuff saved to his hard drive.
Yeah, porn.
So what did you think of that story?
It was mercifully short.
In comparison to what we've read so far.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because there just isn't a whole lot to even comment on. But even the little that's there is written really poorly. I mean, there's literally no pacing.
Yeah.
It's fine if you're just sort of trying to, put a fantasy on paper, for your own purposes. But if you're going to make it for public consumption, you really do have to, work on your formatting and your grammar, and you need to learn a thing or two about how to write a story. That has to do with pacing. It has to do with, properly setting a scene. And it's like that sex scene that was shoehorned in that honestly
I think that had like the most thought put into it, really.
Sadly, I mean, it's obvious that he just wanted to write a sex scene, but the scene really did not have a place in the story.
No, it didn't.
It completely interrupted what the beginning of the story was trying to set up, and then what the end of the story did. It does not have a place in the story. I mean, maybe it did in his longer version. I sort of doubt that it was done any better. But, I mean, if you're going to put something like that in, that's fine, but, like I said, it has to fit the flow and the narrative of the overall story.
Basically, this just boils down to being like somebody's rough outline of a story.
Yeah.
But nothing really more, with the exception of apparently they wanted this really detailed sex scene between Serena and Luna, and that was about it.
And that's an awkward thing to visualize anyway, because it's like, it says, she got the dildo and she was manipulating it. But I mean, if she's, a cat in cat form. I visualize this really awkward thing with Luna with the dildo in her mouth. Practically giving herself whiplash.
Maybe, like, on the bottom of the dildo, the base of it, it's got, like, a little, hook or something for, like, her to put her little mouth on so she can use her, like, whole body to move it back and forth.
Like, and even so, that's such an awkward visual.
Poor Luna. Her soulmate apparently is hooked up with a hermaphrodite, and the only thing she can get any is from Serena, who was more interested in the Prince of Earth than anybody else. So, pretty much what you said needs to be more meat here. It would have been nice to establish why this star, or whatever it is, coming towards Earth is evil and bad and should be dealt with. It should be more at the forefront of the story than the sex scene between Luna and Serena. I mean, if you just want to write that. Don't have some background plot that you're not really interested in. Save that for another story or something. And just write a sex scene about Luna and Serena. You know, I like I said earlier, I've read Serena and Luna. I've read, it's been so long since I watched Sailor Moon, I don't remember the real name of Sailor Venus. Is it Mina? I think it's Mina.
I think you may be right, but I'm in the same boat. I haven't watched it in a long time either.
But, I've read a story about Mina and Artemis, and they were just one scene that just entirely involved those characters having sex with each other. And then that was it. It was nothing more, nothing less. So I don't know why this author couldn't have done the same. I mean, either write a serious story with an interesting plot, and, actually put some meat into it and detail what's going on, or just write a sex scene instead of trying to shoehorn both together.
Right. And again, it really does help if you get some education on how to write.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely just learning the basics of grammar and how to format a paragraph is definitely where to start, because this is not the first story that you and I have read where we can't really tell where the paragraph breaks are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or especially in that one story we read when things weren't in quotation marks when they were talking, so we couldn't tell when they were supposed to be having dialogue or not. So just, learn the basics of, how to write in English.
I mean, you don't have to be a fantastic storyteller to still tell a good story, or at least get your point across. But it needs to be a bit more meaningful than this.
Yeah. And, practice makes perfect. I mean, if you turn out, a few of these, the first time, and then as you practice, you get better, and we have, more, more evidence of you, doing better later on, that's fine. I mean, if basically, as much as we, do the critique, everyone starts out crap and then they get better. But my problem is when I don't see any evidence that they ever advanced beyond the crap stage.
Yeah, and what's even more offensive is when somebody like in Minor Life just defends how they're writing instead of actually learning something. But
that's the worst part, when you're like, no, my writing is awesome and you guys are just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe people actually know what they're talking about.
But in this person's case, I would say first you need to find a focus. Your focus seems to be writing porn between Luna and Serena, so we should only focus on that and try putting a bit more thought into how this is actually happening so that your reader can follow along instead of kind of going, well, that's a thing that's happening now, I guess. And just work on, spelling and formatting. And I'd say really that's all that's wrong with this, with the exception of we don't even really, since we do include the supposed evil threat, we don't really state exactly when in the Sailor Moon timeline this story takes place until we get to they're transforming Sailor Star Power.
Yeah.
So that would have been nice to establish. I mean, even if this is a fanfic coming off of another fanfic where you have established, this character Oscar, you really need to kind of do like a small summary to update to catch anybody who's coming into this story fresh. What's going on. Just something like several months ago, Oscar, whatever I decided his last name was, moved to Tokyo and met some friends who were secretly the Sailor Scouts. And turns out he's actually a hermaphrodite and somehow has mystical star powers too, except he's a Saiyan.
That still cracks me up.
So I guess that means like he's half Saiyan or something.
I guess I really don't know how that even works. I think he just basically, put how he would have liked to be at the time.
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, also depending on when this was written, I'm gonna assume it was written way, way back in the early days of Toonami. That was probably the things he was into most was Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball, and wanted to combine the two. And it makes sense to him because he's a dude. He's like, well, if the girls turn into magical Sailor Scouts, I guess the boys become Saiyan.
I guess. It's just, there's no date here, so I have no idea when this was written. But yeah, it really, I think we've said just about all there is to say. I mean, it's obvious that he wanted to write a fantasy, his own fantasy. And if you want to do that for yourself, as I said, if you just want to write something out for yourself, that's perfectly fine. It's a form of, just a creative exercise for yourself. But if you're writing for something for public consumption, there are things you need to have in mind.
Yeah. Again, just to reiterate before we sign off, study your grammar and spelling. They don't have to be the absolute best, but, there's also beta readers and editors, somebody that you technically don't personally know that can actually look at your work and critique it and suggest changes to help better your work. There's also writing what you think is a really good story and then just putting it away for a bit and bringing it back out and looking over it, then. And then just actually learning how to establish things, not over detail, but giving the reader enough so they know what's going on, and especially in fanfiction, when the story takes place.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So, I'm Caleb.
And I'm Hawkeye.
And this has been Bad Fanfiction Theater. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye!
Bye.